Hi everyone, today at Windsor Plywood we're going to talk about how to choose and apply the right wood stain for your project. Because picking the right stain before you even open the can makes a huge difference in your finished result. We're going to show you how to apply your deck stain properly. We want to make sure that your boards are clean and ready to go. We want to apply it with that brush, and we want to make sure that you're going with the grain of your deck boards. Also, then you can get the best finish possible on your deck. Surface prep on decks is very important. You want your deck stain to last as long as possible. So if you have boards that are a little bit rough or dirty, you really want to make sure that they're clean before you start the staining process. There's a couple ways to do that. You can sand them, and that will give it a nice clean finish. You don't want to start with like a really smooth sandpaper. You kind of want it to be a little bit gritty, so then you get the opening of the pores, and that way your stain will soak in more. So this is a rough sandpaper, and with this board it's got a little bit of water stain which will show through when you stain. I would just give it a light sand, and it was a little dusty when I got it, so I would just nice lightly sand. See how it didn't take very much, and now it looks a lot cleaner, and then your stain will apply a lot nicer to this board. If you had stain previously on your deck, then you have to do a little bit of research. If you're going to go to a new brand, odds are you're going to have to strip or sand that deck completely bare and start over again. If you're using the same product over top, our products are really nice because you can just apply it as long as there's no loose or flaking boards. So then you just sand it smooth, pressure wash it, and then you'll be able to sand it or stain it once it's dry. So into the staining process now. There's multiple ways to apply stain. You can spray, you can roller, you can brush. However, we recommend brushing because you get the best coverage off of that. So when you roller a product, and you take your roller and you go right over top, it just kind of leaves it right on the surface. It's not getting it into any of the cracks. So that's when you would take your brush and then you would end up back brushing it. So doing a roller is really nice. It can apply it really fast. However, you do need to go back and make sure that you're using a really good brush to fill in all of the cracks. And I can show you how to do that coming up. When you're picking your brush, it is also very important because each brush is not created equally. We have these little ones, they're nice and cheap. They have their purpose. Deck staining is not one of them. They tend to lose their bristles. You can't get as much stain on them, so then you're back and forth into your can all the time, and then you'll be very annoyed by the end of your staining project. We do have specific stain brushes. They're a lot thicker, they have a lot more bristles, and they hold a lot more stain. So when you are staining, you get a nice even coat on your board. And that's what's most important. You don't want blotchy, heavy stain in one spot and not heavy on the other. So that is picking the proper brush for your stain. Today for our demo, we're going to use Ready Seal. It's a new product to Windsor Plywood, and it's also called the Goof Proof. One thing we love about it is that it's oil-based. Oil-based products are really awesome for our climate. One thing we love is the fact that they absorb into the wood really well. They don't just sit on top. This product especially is a two-coat product. So when we do that, it's very light coats, and you're not going to apply one really heavy coat. So we're going to get started and show you how to apply this Goof Proof Ready Seal product. Before we start staining, one of the main things to do is to stir your product. Everybody thinks shaking the product is the best. However, we've always recommended stirring, and even on these cans, they now say stir well. One thing that stirring does over shaking is it doesn't create the bubbles, and you're gonna know right away whether your product is mixed or not. So when we open our can, you're going to take your stir stick, and the first thing I always do is check the bottom. Make sure that there's no solid clumps on the bottom. That way you know how much you have to really stir. If you do get quite a bit of pigment on the bottom, then you're really going to have to stir this can to make sure that you're going to get an even color all the way through your staining project. And we usually recommend also stirring in between not even halfway. I try and stir probably every few minutes just to make sure that the pigments are always mixed up, and then you're going to get even coats and even coverage with your product. So I'm going to stir this up. We're going to use the natural color. We're using it on cedar, so that's kind of one of my favorites, is to use a natural on that. I'm going to take my brush. I'm not going to dip it all the way in. I'm going to just dip it a little bit. You don't want a whole bunch of excess because then you're going to drip it all over your boards. Given with the goof-proof product, that's not going to matter. So I just take my stain, and you want nice even coats. And you can see the brush gets it into these cracks and all of the knots quite well. And you want that. You want it to soak in to the product, and you want it to get into those knots. That's going to seal them and make sure that the water doesn't pool in there. When water pools in your wood, then it expands, and that's what makes it crack, and it gives you a lot of headaches in the future. The other thing that it's really nice to do, I know your boards will be nice and tight together, is try and get that edge as much as possible. If you're doing this before you put the boards down, then the best thing to do is to do all of the sides of your boards, ends as well as the edges, and that way you get the best protection you can. The main reason why deck stain fails is because the undersides of the boards haven't been done, and the moisture comes from the ground, pushes through the board, and then ends up lifting your stain. So we try and remember to tell people to do all sides of their boards. As you can see, this board has been coated nice and evenly, and we don't have any runs or streaks on it. So we would call this a really good application. This product is wonderful because you can let it sit for 2 hours, and if it rains, that's okay. It's not going to ruin your product. However, it's not going to be fully cured, but it's not going to ruin your product. Another reason why we love the Ready Seal. One thing that people run into when they're staining their decks is going through, taking their can, and you're going to get drips and drops all over. With other stain products, this is going to cause you a really big headache. They call it lap marks or overlapping marks, and that would give you a solid divide. This isn't going to matter with this product. That's one of the bonuses of it. We love it for that. This can sit here for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and then you're going to be able to brush it out, and it's not even going to show. So that's the goof-proof part. If you wanted to write your name on your deck and then go back and stain over it, it's not going to show through. So now I could just go ahead and brush that out, and you're never going to know that I dripped all over it. And as you can see, it's now flawlessly blended into the board. One thing I need to talk about is the light coats. Touched on it briefly, however, I just want to clarify. This, with all of this excess in here, that makes it really heavy. That is not what we want. We would like to smooth that out throughout the whole board. Or if you have too much stain, just go back to your can, wipe it off, then you'll be able to brush that out. The key is light coats. It dries better, it's a better application, and it soaks in more. So a lot of people really want to roller their deck. It can be done, you just have to make sure you do it properly. So you take your roller and you're going to roll it on, and you can see I can squish out a lot of stain with my roller, and that's not a light, thin coat. So then you got to go through and make sure that it creates an even coat, but you can see how it bubbles on the surface. You really get in there and you can see that bubbling. That also will not soak in as much. So that's when we always say, if you're gonna brush or a roller, you're gonna take your brush and you're gonna back brush and you're gonna get rid of a lot of those pieces. And this will also help get it into all of the knots and make that even coat, nice and thin like they asked for. This color here is called Burnt Hickory. It gives a nice rich wood tone, but also a really nice color to the boards. It's probably going to be one of our top sellers. When you roll, it's really important to make sure that you back brush. So you save time with the rolling. However, unless you have a partner that's going to come behind and back brush, you're going to have that extra step. So rolling is quicker in some ways, however, it adds an extra step. So it just depends on how much you can talk to and buddy into helping you out with the staining. Ready Seal has a wide variety of colors. It's an oil-based product, so you've got to make sure that you're wearing your gloves and you've got your paint thinner handy to clean out your brushes at the end of it. It's a really good UV protection product, so it's going to protect all of your wood from the sun that beats down in our plus 30 days. It also, protects from all the water damage, and, when you're shoveling your snow, you want to make sure that you're going to use a non-metal based shovel so then you don't chip your deck boards. It's a really good, strong product, and we would highly recommend it to anybody who's staining a deck this summer. Another deck product that we have is the SICO SRD. It's called Siding Decks and Rails, so you can use it on multiple surfaces. I really like it for decks. This one, you also need to make sure that you stir it really well. So when you get your can home and you've got chunks like this, that means that your pigment is all at the bottom, and you're going to want to stir that up really well and make sure that it gets into that, and then you'll get your nice even coat on your deck boards. So we've got our SRD and we have our Ready Seal, and they're very different products. They're both an oil-based product. However, this SRD is a one coat product. So you do one coat and that's it. Whereas the Ready Seal, you need to do 2 coats. Both of them are thin coats, but they do need time to dry before they're fully cured. Ready Seal definitely has to be done in 2 coats, or else you're not going to get the full protection. With the SRD, you're going to have a little bit more color pigment to it because it is a single coat process. So that's why when I'm stirring this, there's a lot more pigment, and this is quite a bit darker than what the Ready Seal look like. So they both need that really good sunny day, however, not applying stain and over plus 20, because what happens when you do that, the sun will bake the stain and it won't be able to cure and set into the product. Now that we have this all mixed up, there's no excess stain color on the bottom, we're ready to apply this to our boards. When you're applying this stain, you have to make sure that you're brushing even coats. This one, if you start overlapping a bunch, you're going to see that line on your board. And I can create that so then you guys have a better understanding of what I'm doing. So when we go to apply this, again, nice even coats. We don't want to make it all blotchy on the board, so just a little bit of stain. And as we go, we're going to just do this nice and evenly. One of the big tips with this SICO product is that you want to do the full piece. You don't want to do 3 half boards at once because you're going to create a line in the middle. So I always say do 2 boards at once. You got to do the whole length of your deck, and then you're going to move down 2 boards and get those done. We talk about overlapping with this product, so I'm going to do that on this board. I'm going to stain it, and we're going to give it a moment or 2. So if you were doing not the full board, and you would stop and you're gonna do a bunch at once and you're gonna create that line. When you go back and wanna do stain again, they're drying at different times and you're gonna create what we call an overlap there. That means that that section got 2 coats in one spot. And then you're gonna have a line. Remember, this is a 1-coat product. We don't wanna have a spot that has 2 coats. It shows up in your staining product at the end. So now that I've let this go and I've done half of my deck and I'm gonna come back and do this board, you're gonna see that it is a very different color when they overlap. A little bit more stain. You can start to see the line forming already. Right where I had the 2, there's a little bit darker of a line, and when that dries, you're gonna see that. It's gonna be a line all the way through your deck boards of that double overlapping. So when it dries, you're really gonna notice that you have all of these breaks in your boards. And odds are, you didn't make a straight line. Now that we've come back and the board's almost dry, you can really see the definition of that overlap line. So that's what we want to try and avoid, and that's why we would do the whole piece at once and not break it into a bunch of little pieces. 2 major products are an oil-based stain to a water-based stain. We have water-based stains as well. They can be tinted or they can be clear. Water-based is really nice for certain applications. One, it can be applied in cooler temperatures. So it can be +2 and you can apply your stain. However, it does take a little bit longer to be rain ready. So you're around that 8 to 12 hours before a rainfall could happen, or else your stain will be ruined. Another thing about water is it can actually be applied in warmer temperatures. So it could be +40 and you could be applying a water-based stain. It's not gonna soak in nearly as much as an oil-based stain will. However, it does have its perks because sometimes you can't find that perfect day where the rain's not going to come at night and you need to apply something to get it on your deck and have your deck protected. Semi-transparent and solids both protect your wood wonderfully. The biggest difference is the wood grain. You can see that wonderful cedar board coming through. If you had a treated board and you wanted to cover that up, a solid stain is a definite way to go. However, with cedar, it's always nice to see that wood grain come through, and that's exactly why you would use that semi-transparent stain. Clear, however, is something that everybody wants. However, we never really recommend it because it doesn't protect the wood from the UV light. Anything that has pigment to it will protect your boards from UV light. And so that's that sun beating down on your boards, and that's really gonna make that stain break down, and then it's actually going to discolor your wood. So cedar will turn gray if it doesn't have a finish. A clear stain will only last you a maximum of 3 years before it starts breaking down, and then you're going to have to redo it. So it does look lovely. However, we always recommend a little bit of pigment just so then you're not staining your deck all the time. So now you know what to look for before you even pick up a brush. The right product for your project makes a huge difference. It's all right here at Windsor Plywood Grande Prairie. Come on in and we'll find you exactly what you need. I'm Erin from Windsor Plywood, and we'll see you in the next one.